The lion, guardian of kingship, a roar across time. In the heart of the continent, under the vast gaze of the eternal sun, there is a presence that has walked beside kings, whispered into the ears of diviners, and prowled silently at the edge of ceremony. The lion. Not merely a beast of muscle and fang, but a force, a spirit dressed in flesh. To the people of many African lands, the lion is no ordinary animal. He is a guardian of royalty, a symbol of divine strength, a mirror of power and restraint. The roar of the lion is more than a sound. It is a spiritual pronouncement, an invisible crown echoing across the plains. In the great traditions of Ashanti, of Mali, of Ethiopia and beyond, the lion stands not at the bottom of the hierarchy of creation, but near its center, an axis where spirit meets form, where strength meets sanctity. We begin here with the lion, the watcher of thrones, the shadow of majesty. Ashanti, the lion beneath the golden stool. In the forests and palaces of the Ashanti kingdom, the golden stool, Sikadwa Kofi, rests as a living symbol of the soul of the nation. But beneath this radiant emblem, beneath the echoes of chants and praise names, is a silent companion, the lion. Not always visible, but always present in meaning. The lion among the Ashanti is not merely a predator. He is a creature of deep cultural and spiritual intelligence. The Asantehene, the king, is said to inherit not only the authority of his ancestors, but also the lion's grace and precision. Royal regalia often includes lion motifs, bronze sculptures, golden amulets, ceremonial stools. They bear the quiet curve of a lion's tail or the strong outline of a lion's mane. These are not decorations, they are reminders. They speak in symbols, lead with wisdom, strike with justice. In some oral traditions, the lion is the animal who bowed before the first king, acknowledging not fear, but spiritual recognition. The lion's eyes are said to see the truth behind ceremony. He walks with the king in silence, when others only see the throne. Mali, the lion of Sundiata. We move now to the ancient Sahel, to the empire of Mali, where dust and glory mingle with the stories of ancestors. Here walks Sundiata Keita, the lion child. In the epic of Sundiata, it is said that he was destined to be a mighty ruler from birth. His mother, Sogolon, was an unusual woman with mystical gifts and a destiny tied to the spirits. When she gave birth to Sundiata, the griots whispered that he carried the soul of a lion, not just in strength, but in spirit. Sundiata, though born unable to walk, rose with the heart of a lion, slow, deliberate, and unshakable. The lion in Mali is a guide for leadership not based on speed or aggression, but patient endurance, vision, and strategic power. When he became emperor, the lion became his symbol, not only as a warrior, but as a unifier, a protector of culture and a shaper of civilization. The lion's face adorned royal banners. His name was invoked in proverbs. And even today, Sundiata's lion-like qualities remain part of the Malian memory. The lion is remembered not as a killer, but as a keeper. Ethiopia, the lion of Judah. Far across the Red Sea, across the mountainous majesty of Ethiopia, the lion walks with scripture. The lion of Judah, a symbol not only of royalty, but of divine legitimacy. In the Ethiopian Orthodox tradition, the lion is a creature of biblical power. He stands beside the Ark of the Covenant, his mane thick with spiritual authority. The Solomonic dynasty of Ethiopia claimed descent from King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. And it is here that the lion becomes both a spiritual and ancestral being. To rule was not simply to hold political power, but to hold the sacred fire passed down from divine union. The lion, in this context, is the form spirit takes to remind mankind of the covenant between heaven and earth. In coronation ceremonies, lion imagery was central. Emperors like Haile Selassie were often referred to as the conquering lion of the tribe of Judah, not to invoke domination, but to affirm sacred stewardship. The lion, thus, is more than a beast. He is a walking testament to ancient promises and celestial lineage. The lion in ritual and spirit practice. Across the continent, in the quieter corners of village life, the lion remains a potent spirit symbol, even where no lions roam. Among certain Nguni-speaking peoples of southern Africa, lion spirits are said to guard the ancestors. In trance rituals, a spirit medium may call upon the lion for guidance. The growl heard in the voice of the initiate is said not to be their own, but the lion's. In divination, the image of the lion may appear on carved bones, cowrie shells, or in the patterns of spilled sand. Interpreted correctly, this may signify strength ahead or a warning to rule one's temper. The lion also features in totemic traditions. For clans who bear the lion as their totem, it is taboo to kill one. They are kin, spiritual relatives. To dream of a lion in these traditions is to receive a message from the other side, a sign to walk with courage, or perhaps a warning that power is being misused. The lion as balance, power, temperance, and judgment. Unlike modern portrayals of lions as symbols of sheer aggression or dominance, traditional African spirituality places the lion in a more nuanced light. The lion is strength, yes, but it is also the discipline of strength. He does not waste energy. He does not chase every fight. He waits. He observes. He moves with purpose. To be like the lion is not simply to win, but to know when to rise and when to rest. This is why the lion is not only associated with kings, but with elders, judges, and seers. His power is not in teeth alone, but in patience, in discernment, in the quiet warning before the storm. When the lion walks with you. In some traditions, a lion walking beside you in a dream or vision is not a threat, it is protection. A lion at your side may be an ancestor, a spirit guide, or a representation of your own untapped authority. For those on the path of initiation, be it a priest, a ruler, or a healer, the lion may appear at a critical moment, in silence, in the space between worlds, in the eye of a storm. He is the test of your readiness, the embodiment of your strength. Will you roar too soon, or will you hold your silence, like the lion beneath the tree, waiting until the moment is right? The lion's roar, a spiritual vibration. Among some healer traditions, especially those rooted in Central and West Africa, the lion's roar is used as a metaphor for the voice of spirit itself. When the drumbeat rises and the medium enters trance, there may come a guttural sound from the throat, deep, resonant, ancient. It is not considered human. The lion is roaring through them, a reminder that the body can become vessel, that the spirit can speak with a voice not its own, that even now, in the age of noise and rush, the lion walks through the soul, regal, deliberate, watching, a silence that watches. The lion is not always seen. He blends with the tall grass, with the hush of evening, with the ancient carvings on royal thrones. But he is always there. He is the embodiment of power held with purpose, of strength ruled by wisdom, of spirit dressed in flesh. And so we honor him The lion, not as predator, but as protector. Not as beast, but as presence. A sacred creature of the African world, whose roar still echoes through time, through dream, through destiny. The crocodile, ancient memory and river spirits. In the silence of the river, there is a place where the river forgets how to move, where the water lies so still it becomes a mirror for the sky. And beneath that surface, unseen by most, drifts an ancient presence, patient, still, watching. The crocodile. To those who have lived beside Africa's rivers for millennia, the crocodile is not just a reptile. It is a guardian of deep time, a memory older than speech, a being who slept from the womb of the earth before man first spoke to fire. Among the Dogon of Mali, the Dinka of South Sudan, the Igbo of Nigeria, and countless other peoples of the continent, the crocodile carries far more than its scales and teeth. It carries the stories of ancestors, the echoes of spirits, the wisdom of water, the Dogon, the crocodile, and the cosmic waters. In the cosmology of the Dogon people of Mali, water is not simply liquid. It is a divine element, a channel between worlds, and the crocodile is its gatekeeper. The Dogon tell of a time when the sky and earth were one, and from this oneness came the Nomo, the ancestral beings who brought order to the cosmos. When the Nomo descended from the heavens, they brought with them water, and within that water, the crocodile took shape. Among the Dogon, the crocodile is not merely a creature of the river. It is a sacred form. Carvings of crocodiles appear on granary doors, ceremonial stools, and ritual masks. These are not decorations. They are invocations. The crocodile reminds the Dogon of their connection to primordial order and the importance of memory. When elders speak of someone with ancient knowledge, they may say, "He has the eyes of the crocodile." It means he sees not only what is above the surface, but what lies beneath, what others fear to confront. In Dogon ritual, the crocodile is sometimes called upon in offerings left by water, a symbol of balance between the human and spiritual worlds. A reminder, nothing can be built without first understanding what is hidden. Dinka, crocodile as ancestral spirit and protector. To the Dinka people of South Sudan, whose cattle and customs flow with the rhythm of the Nile, the crocodile is more than a danger. It is a spirit companion. In some Dinka clans, crocodiles are considered ancestral beings, sacred animals who once walked among the people before returning to the water. It is believed that the spirits of powerful elders, or even legendary warriors, may return in crocodile form. Because of this belief, crocodiles are never harmed lightly. To kill one without cause is to risk angering the ancestors. There are tales told around evening fires of a warrior saved from drowning by a crocodile who swam beside him, guiding him to shore. In the tale, the crocodile does not speak, but its eyes seem to carry a message: you are not alone. In Dinka ritual songs, crocodiles are praised not for their strength, but for their patience, for their ability to wait, to strike only when the time is right. The crocodile is seen as a teacher of rhythm, of when to be still and when to move. It is said the crocodile does not boast, but he always eats. Igbo, crocodile and the river spirits of Allah. In the spiritual beliefs of the Igbo people, rivers are sacred bodies, often personified as spirits or goddesses, especially Allah, the Earth Mother, and Oshimiri, the water's soul. The crocodile, lurking beneath these divine waters, becomes a sacred guardian, Among riverine communities, it is believed that the crocodile carries messages between humans and water spirits. Offerings made to the river, cola nuts, white cloth, palm oil, are often left near where crocodiles gather. These offerings are not only for the spirits, but for the crocodiles themselves, who serve as their intermediaries. There is a story passed down in parts of Igboland of a young woman who was taken by the river spirits, only to return years later with glowing eyes and strange wisdom. When asked how she survived beneath the river, she simply said, "The crocodile taught me silence." The Igbos say the crocodile represents not just power, but spiritual neutrality. It is neither good nor evil, but a keeper of balance. It reminds the living that beneath the calmest waters, great forces are always in motion. The crocodile and the river as living temples. In African cosmologies, rivers are not inanimate. They are living shrines, and the crocodile is both priest and sentinel. In shrines dedicated to river deities, like Oshun in Yoruba land, or Mamiwata along the West African coast, crocodile motifs often appear in carvings, beads, and dances. Some water priestesses wear crocodile-shaped pendants as a sign of their initiation. Others carry fans or staffs etched with its image. To dream of a crocodile in many of these traditions is not to fear being hunted, but to recognize that one is being watched, that one is being called to deeper reflection, that spirit is asking for stillness. The crocodile waits beneath the surface, unmoving. He knows that sometimes wisdom comes not from action, but from observation. He teaches us to listen before we leap, to understand before we judge. The crocodile as portal guardian. Across much of Central and East Africa, crocodiles are seen as threshold keepers, spirits that patrol the boundary between the living and the dead, between the known and the unknowable. Among some Bantu-speaking groups, it is believed that when a person dies near water, their soul must pass by the crocodile before it can move on. If they lived a good life, the crocodile will ignore them. But if they carried darkness or unfulfilled oaths, the crocodile may drag them into the depths to be judged, to be cleansed, or to remain in limbo. Some say this belief is the origin of tales where the dead haunt the river, not as ghosts, but as trapped echoes beneath the current, waiting for the crocodile's permission to cross. Ritual specialists, especially diviners who use water mirrors or sacred bowls, may invoke the crocodile as a guide through these liminal spaces. "Take me where the living cannot go," they might whisper, before casting their gaze into the dark surface. Crocodile in shape-shifting and spirit possession. In certain spiritual traditions, particularly in Congo Basin belief systems, crocodiles are associated with shapeshifters, humans who can transform into animal forms through ritual or ancestral gifts. There are stories of crocodile men, warriors or priests who enter trance and take the spirit of the crocodile into themselves. In such moments, their eyes change, their skin sweats cold, their movements become slow and deliberate. These beings are not feared, they are respected. They are seen as bridges between the physical and spiritual worlds. In Vodun traditions, crocodiles may also appear during spirit possession ceremonies. When a devotee is mounted by a river spirit, they may move like a crocodile, sliding low, arms stiff, eyes scanning the room. It is not mimicry, it is embodiment. The crocodile arrives, and with it, the memory of deep time, children of the river. In many African folk tales, children are born not only of parents, but of rivers. These water children are said to carry the mark of the crocodile. Quiet eyes, dreams of deep water, and an uncanny ability to sense hidden emotions. Some say that children who almost drown but survive are chosen by the crocodile, that they have been shown the other side and returned with a gift. These children often grow to become healers, drummers, or visionaries. They speak little, but dream often. Their parents learn to watch them closely, not with fear, but with reverence. It is said that when such a child smiles at the river, the crocodile lifts its head as if to nod in recognition. Lessons from the crocodile. What then does the crocodile teach? He teaches that time is not rushed, that silence is not weakness, that wisdom waits. In a world that races forward, the crocodile drifts backward, into memory, into mystery, into the stillness of spirit. He reminds us that beneath the surface of every person, every moment, lies something hidden, something waiting to be honored. The crocodile does not speak, but he watches, and in that gaze, entire truths are revealed. The water remembers. As the river continues its slow, winding course, the crocodile disappears beneath its skin. He leaves no footprints, no cries, only the ripple, only the knowing. In the spiritual landscapes of Africa, he remains a sentinel of secrets, a bearer of balance, a creature carved from the memory of water itself. To honor the crocodile is to honor stillness, to honor the water, to honor the silence that remembers us, the elephant, ancestral might and earthly grace, walking with mountains. The elephant does not hurry. He does not run to be seen. He walks slowly, deliberately, carrying the weight of centuries in every step. To the peoples of Africa, the elephant is more than a magnificent beast. He is ancestor. He is memory. He is power made gentle. Across vast landscapes and deep spiritual traditions, among the Yoruba, the Bantu, the Mosi, the Akan, and many others, the elephant is revered not only for its size, but for what it represents: wisdom, continuity, Earth's intelligence, and the sacred bond of community. To walk with the elephant is to walk with the knowledge of those who came before, to remember without speaking, to hold strength without threat. Let us walk with him now. Yoruba, the elephant of Sango. In Yoruba cosmology, few figures are as revered and powerful as Sango, the Orisha of thunder, justice, and royal force. And when speaking of the power of Sango, the elephant is never far. Among Sango's many symbols, the elephant stands tall, representing his immovable presence and the grandeur of his authority. While the thunderstone is his weapon, the elephant is his stature. To the Yoruba, the elephant's path is sacred. It breaks through the forest not to destroy, but to open space for renewal. This mirrors the welcome of Sango, who clears corruption with thunder, but leaves room for righteousness to grow. In Yoruba proverbs, one hears, "No one steps on the path of the elephant and complains of a narrow road." It means, where true authority walks, others must yield. In shrine art, the elephant appears beside Sango's axe. Both speak of power, but power used with rhythm, with grace, with divine timing. The elephant is not rage. He is divine weight, felt even in silence. Bantu, the matriarch and the clan. Across Bantu-speaking communities stretching from Central to Southern Africa, the elephant is a symbol of unity, matriarchy, and ancestral wisdom. In some traditions, the elephant represents the founding mother, the wise one who remembers all names, all births, all wrongs, all rights. Her memory is long. Her steps shape the land. To kill an elephant without cause is not just a crime against nature. It is an insult to the ancestors. Clans who take the elephant as their totem are often led by elders who emulate its traits. Slow to anger, slow to forget, impossible to move by force. In many stories, the elephant leads not with fear, but with presence. When disputes arise in a village, it is the elder who has the ear of the elephant who is called upon to judge. They say, when the elephant turns its back, the forest quiets. Meaning, when wisdom withdraws, even the bravest must pause. Mosi, the elephant and royal dignity. Among the Mosi people of Burkina Faso, the elephant is woven into the fabric of royalty. In ceremonial masks, towering structures worn by dancers during funerals and royal events, the elephant often appears in abstracted form. Long trunk, wide ears, graceful, swaying movement. These are not just artistic representations. They are invocations. The dancer becomes the elephant becomes the ancestor. The ceremony becomes a reunion of earth and spirit. In Mosi belief, the elephant does not merely represent might, it represents the weight of responsibility. A chief is expected to carry the burdens of his people the way the elephant carries the forest, with strength and without complaint. The elephant never walks alone, and neither does the one chosen to lead. The elephant in creation myths. In certain African creation stories, the elephant is among the first beings to be formed, not last, as a final flourish, but first, as a stabilizing spirit of the land. One myth tells of a world too light, too fragile, tossed about by winds and chaos. The spirits called forth the elephant, who pressed his feet into the earth and held it down with his mass. The earth stopped shaking, rain began to fall gently, and life could begin. In this way, the elephant is the anchor of creation, not the loudest, not the fastest, but the most grounded. He reminds us that sometimes it is the heaviest presence that keeps the world from drifting. Elephants and the ancestral world. Across the continent, elephants are often seen as carriers of ancestral energy. In dream lore, to see an elephant walking slowly across your path is a sign that an ancestor is near, not with urgency, not with anger, but with a message, a reminder to walk your path with dignity. Among certain Luba-speaking groups, elephants are linked to the Kalanga line, the boundary between the world of the living and the dead. Elephants are believed to walk between these worlds, carrying the souls of the departed on their backs during their final journey. Funeral songs may include praise for the elephant, asking him to carry the elder home with grace. Drums echo his gait. Chant leaders mimic the low rumble of his voice. There is no rush. The journey must be honored. White elephants and the blessings of spirit. Though rare in nature, white elephants occupy a special place in African spiritual imagination. In some West African legends, a white elephant is not an animal, but a spirit. It appears in visions, leading the dreamer through misty forests or across glowing plains. To see a white elephant is to receive an ancestral calling, to become a healer, a priest, or a keeper of sacred knowledge. Such dreams are not taken lightly. The person may undergo ritual cleansing, divination, or even isolation to understand what the elephant has shown them. In certain healing ceremonies, white cloth is worn to invoke the presence of this spirit, a quiet plea for clarity, for memory, for groundedness. The white elephant is not loud. He does not trumpet. He simply stands, a mountain with eyes, a prayer in the form of flesh, elephant memory and the oral tradition. In many African cultures, memory is sacred. The ability to remember lineages, laws, taboos, songs, and names is a spiritual gift. The elephant, with its renowned memory, becomes a metaphor for this gift. Griots, the oral historians of West Africa, may be praised as those who remember like elephants. Their minds carry genealogies stretching back centuries. To forget an ancestor is to let their spirit fade. To remember is to give them breath again. The elephant teaches us that forgetting is not neutral, it is a kind of death. And so, through stories, proverbs, and ceremonies, the memory of the elephant is honored, not as an animal trait, but as a human aspiration. The elephant's walk, a spiritual rhythm. When elephants walk, the earth does not resist, it receives. Their feet, though massive, press softly. They follow ancient trails invisible to human eyes, paths passed down through generations. In some communities, people say elephants walk the spirit roads, that where elephants go, the ancestors once trod. To walk beside elephants, even metaphorically, is to align yourself with the rhythm of the old world. In dance, the elephant's movement is mimicked by broad, sweeping gestures. Dancers step with weight, sway slowly, nod with solemnity, not to imitate the beast, but to invite its spirit into the circle. In music, the drumbeat of the elephant is slow, deep, and resonant, a heartbeat from the belly of the land. Elephant as the living shrine. In rare places, actual elephants are worshipped directly, treated as living shrines. In certain parts of Central Africa, specific herds are believed to be under the protection of local spirits or deities. People leave offerings near their watering holes, kola nuts, carved sticks, salt, or even whispered prayers on folded leaves. If the elephant accepts the gift, by not trampling it, by drinking close, it is seen as a blessing. If it turns away, the offering must be remade, the prayer rewarded, the intention purified. These elephants are not named, they are not owned, they are honored. They are the visible edge of an invisible world. Lessons from the elephant. The elephant teaches us to carry weight without bitterness, to remember but not dwell, to move slowly but with certainty, to lead not with noise but with presence. In the elephant's eye, there is no judgment, only depth. In its breath, there is no haste, only rhythm. And in its path, there is no force, only gravity. The gentle weight of the sacred. The elephant does not ask to be noticed. He simply is. And yet we feel him. In the trembling of the earth. In the silence after a wise elder speaks. In the memory that rises unbidden in our dreams. He is the sacred creature who does not need to shout, because his very being is a song, a story, a shrine. And as he disappears into the forest, trunk swaying, ears calm, we are left with more than admiration. We are left with reverence. The serpent, keeper of wisdom and chaos. The air is still, the grass bends ever so slightly. A soundless movement coils across the earth, not in haste, not in fear. A shimmer of scales, a flicker of tongue, and the world holds its breath. The curve of the infinite. In many cultures, the serpent is met with fear. But in Africa, the serpent is also met with reverence. To the peoples of the continent, the snake, not merely as animal, but as spirit, represents one of the most powerful forces in existence, transformation. The serpent is the keeper of secrets, the guardian of thresholds, the one who moves between worlds. never bound by legs, yet never without direction.
Among the Fon and Yue of Dahomey, the Yoruba of Nigeria, the Congo peoples of Central Africa, and beyond, the serpent is seen as both divine and dangerous, a being of paradox.
It is at once the teacher and the tester, the healer and the harbinger, the spiral and the straight line.
Let us now descend into the sacred coils of the African serpent and listen. Fon and Yu, Dan, the rainbow serpent.
In the cosmology of the Fon and Yu, peoples of present-day Benin and Togo, there is no creature more central to creation than Dan, the rainbow serpent. Dan is the arc that holds the sky and earth together. It stretches across the heavens like a rainbow, balancing the forces of chaos and order.
According to Dahomean myth, Dan was created by the supreme deity Maulisa to encircle the earth, keeping it stable. Without Dan, the world would collapse in on itself, swallowed by its own instability. Dan is both male and female, both color and void. Its body weaves through the elements, appearing in lightning, in rainbows, and sometimes in dreams. In Vodun temples, images of Dan are drawn on sacred cloths or carved into wood. Offerings of white flour, eggs, and palm oil are made to this serpent of balance. Priests and priestesses initiated into Dan's mysteries are taught to listen to silence, for that is where the serpent's voice is clearest. Dan teaches there is no harmony without tension. The serpent does not straighten, it curves, and yet it holds up the sky. Yoruba, the Ouroboros of Rune and Aye. In Yoruba metaphysics, the world is split between Rune, the realm of spirit, and Aye, the realm of the living. These two worlds are connected through constant interaction, dreams, rituals, births, deaths, and moving between them, often unseen, is Oroboro, the serpent that eats its own tail, a symbol of endless cycle. Though not always depicted literally, the snake in Yoruba tradition represents transition between youth and age, ignorance and knowledge, sickness and healing. The serpent is linked to Oshumare, a deity associated with the rainbow, fluidity, and the eternal dance of opposites. Oshumare, like Dan, is often envisioned as a serpent, colorful, coiling, connecting. To dream of a snake is often interpreted by Yoruba diviners as a sign that change is near, not necessarily good or bad, but transformative. A snake crossing your path may be a message. The past is behind, the skin is shedding, and you must move forward.
The serpent teaches, what does not bend breaks. Congo, the Ankondi serpent and justice. In the Congo spiritual tradition, the serpent is not just a symbol of wisdom, it is also a guardian of justice. Some Ankisi, sacred power figures used in healing and protection, are carved with serpents winding up their bodies. These figures are used to hunt wrongdoers or protect against spiritual attack. The serpent here is an enforcer of cosmic law, not with brutality, but with inevitability.
In Congo cosmology, the serpent is said to coil around the Kalunga line, the boundary between life and death, matter and spirit. It watches who crosses. It knows who belongs where. In burial rites, some families draw serpentine patterns around graves to guide the spirit's journey, or to ward off those who would disturb the peace of the dead. To anger the serpent is to unbalance the invisible court of nature. To honor it is to walk rightly. The python cults of West Africa. Across parts of West Africa, particularly among the Fon and certain Yoruba subgroups, the python is not feared, it is worshipped.
In the city of Uida in Benin, a centuries-old temple exists in honor of sacred pythons. Here, live snakes slither freely in the temple's inner sanctum, cared for by priestesses and fed with reverence.
These snakes are not symbols. They are sacred beings. The spirits of the ancestors may return through them. The breath of the divine moves in their coils.
In festivals, pythons are gently draped around the shoulders of initiates. Their scales are cool. Their presence is calming. Their gaze is deep.
Children raised near the temple are told to respect them, to speak softly in their presence, to feed them with care, and to listen if one appears in a dream.
The python teaches, do not fear what moves in silence. Fear what speaks without knowing. The shedding of skin, rebirth and renewal.
The most potent symbol of the serpent is not its bite, but its transformation.
To shed one's skin, to slough off what no longer serves, to grow even in stillness. This is a lesson woven deep into African serpent mythology.
Among the Zulu, the snake that sheds its skin is associated with ancestors returning in new form. A child born after a miscarriage may be called Umuntu Wesibili, or returning one, whose soul slipped through the serpent's mouth and came again. In healing rituals, snake imagery is sometimes used to guide a person through personal death, not physical, but spiritual. The death of an old self, a harmful habit, a stagnant mind.
The initiate is wrapped in cloth, left in quiet, and then reemerges. Shed, reborn. The serpent whispers, what you fear in endings is the beginning you crave.
Serpent spirits in divination. In many African traditions, the serpent serves as a spiritual guide, a whisperer of hidden knowledge. Diviners may keep serpent fetishes carved from wood or horn, objects used to concentrate spirit. Others read the movement of real snakes during ritual, interpreting the curve of their bodies, the stillness of their tongue.
In one tale from Mali, a diviner stood at a crossroads, unable to choose between three paths. A snake slithered forward, paused at each trail, then coiled beside the narrowest one. The diviner followed it and found the village he was meant to save.
The serpent is not loud. It does not lecture. It shows.
It whines. It waits.
It knows the way because it is the way.
The duality of the serpent, healer and destroyer. To honor the serpent is not to ignore its danger.
African traditions do not romanticize the snake. They respect it for both its medicine and its venom.
In traditional medicine, snake parts have long been used under strict conditions, not as superstition, but as sacred pharmacopoeia. The fat of certain snakes is rubbed on the joints of the elderly. Their skins may be used in protective amulets. Their appearances in dreams are analyzed by healers. Yet at the same time, the bite of a venomous snake is understood as a spiritual sign.
Sometimes it is a warning, other times a punishment, but always a message. The snake is both midwife and executioner. It births and it ends.
The wise do not run from it, they listen. The serpent in masks dance and shrine. In ritual performance, especially among the Dogon and Senufo, the serpent appears in elaborate masked dances.
The mask may be long, undulating, carved to mimic the fluid motion of the snake's body. The dancer wears it high upon the head or stretches it across the arms, weaving across the ceremonial space like a river giving breath.
The dance is slow, hypnotic. The drums pulse low, steady, like a heart in trance. The community watches in silence,
For it is not a man who dances, it is spirit. The serpent has arrived.
In shrines, coiled serpents are painted in sacred pigments, black, red, white. Their eyes are left blank, their mouths closed. The lesson is clear. Power does not always announce itself. Lessons from the serpent. What does the serpent teach? That truth is not always linear. That the sacred hides in silence. That endings are entrances in disguise. That fear is a veil, not a wall.
The serpent moves without sound, yet shifts the world. It sheds without shame, yet holds memory in every scale.
It dies and is reborn 1,000 times in a single lifetime. To follow the serpent is not to escape danger, but to dance with it beneath the skin of the world. As we leave this chapter, the serpent remains, just beneath the surface,
coiled in the dream, curled in the root,
hidden in the heart of the earth.
We do not see it, but we know it is there, watching, weaving, waiting.
It does not strike unless disturbed. It does not flee unless forced. It simply is, a symbol older than fear, a spirit deeper than words. And so we honor the serpent, not for what we want it to be, but for what it is.
The curve of wisdom, the mouth of mystery, the keeper of chaos, and the architect of calm.
The spider, trickster, weaver, and messenger. The breeze carries the shimmer of something small, a glint in the corner. A thread hangs like a question from the branch above. Stillness, then movement. 8 legs, one dance. The web awakens. The whisper on the wind. Of all creatures in the sacred world of African mythology, few are as clever or as complex as the spider.
Tiny, delicate, quiet, yet the architect of entire worlds.
The spider is not the strongest, not the fastest. It cannot roar and it cannot trample, but it can outthink gods. It can outweigh storms, and it can weave the invisible into form.
Across vast regions of Africa, among the Akan of Ghana, the Faun of Benin, the Wolof of Senegal, and beyond, the spider is a being of paradox, part trickster, part teacher, part divine intermediary.
To some, the spider is simply Anansi, the sly storyteller. To others, it is the spirit of creation itself, spinning meaning from nothing. Let us now step gently into its web. Akan, Anansi the spider, weaver of tales. Among the Akan people of Ghana and Ivory Coast, the most well-known spider spirit is Kwaku Anansi, the mischievous trickster, the cunning negotiator, and the first storyteller. Anansi is more than a figure of folklore. He is a cultural force, a way of understanding the world, a spiritual echo of how the weak survive the strong, not with muscle, but with mind. In the stories, Anansi tricks animals, gods, and even death itself. He outwits the python, steals wisdom, sells justice, and sometimes even fools himself.
But Anansi is not evil.
He is the mirror, the laughter in the shadow, the taste of the heart. In one tale, Anansi desires to own all the world's stories, which belong to Nyame, the sky god. Nyame agrees, but only if Anansi can capture 3 dangerous creatures. Anansi succeeds not by force, but by strategy, and thus earns the right to hold the stories of the world. This is why, in Akan tradition, stories are often called Anansism, spider tales.
The spider teaches, power is not always visible. It is in the thread you cannot see until you are caught within it. Faun and you, the spider of the night web.
In the mystical cosmologies of the Faun and you, peoples of Benin and Togo, the spider is not only a trickster, but a spirit messenger. between the seen and unseen worlds. It is said that the spider spins webs at night to trap the thoughts of wandering spirits. In the morning, elders observe the patterns of the web to divine messages.
A web shaped like a spiral is a sign of protection. A torn web may warn of conflict. A web that bridges two branches may signal unity.
Some say that when a spider appears near a newborn child, it is a sign that the child is gifted with speech or prophecy. In this tradition, the spider becomes a weaver of fate, a scribe of the invisible, a messenger for those who speak without mouths.
Wolof, Injaj Mboyo, and the spirit of cleverness.
Among the Wolof people of Senegal, there are stories of Njaj Mboyo, the spider who navigates the world with wit and nerve. Njaj Mboyo is neither feared nor praised, but respected.
He is the one who finds food when none is left, who knows the shortest path through the longest forest, who speaks softly and listens always.
To dream of a spider in Wolof culture is not to fear, it is to prepare. It means you are being called to solve, to navigate, to outthink.
Some Wolof proverbs say, "The web is not the trap, it is the warning," meaning the spider does not ensnare by chance. It reads the world. It acts only when ready.
Spider as weaver of the universe. Beyond the tales and the tricks, the spider carries a cosmic symbolism that threads through many African spiritual philosophies.
The web is not only a net, it is a map.
Each thread connects, not randomly, but intentionally, like the stars in the sky, like the pathways of ancestors.
In some African cosmologies, the spider is believed to have woven the first sky, laying down the stars as beads on thread. The Milky Way is said to be its oldest web, torn slightly by time but still holding.
In village cosmograms, sacred drawings used in ritual space, spider patterns are traced to invoke connection between all things. To walk through the world like the spider is to know every choice touches something else. The spider and women's wisdom. The spider is often associated with female power, not just because of biology, but because of the archetype of creation, wetting and weaving. Among some Bantu-speaking peoples, the spider is linked to the grandmothers, the first midwives of the world. In rituals for fertility or childbirth, spider webs are sometimes invoked or mimicked with string, representing the umbilical cord of life. Women who spin thread, weave cloth, or braid hair are said to speak the language of the spider. Their work is slow, precise, sacred. To weave is to create order from chaos.
To braid is to honor the thread of lineage.
In this way, the spider becomes a symbol of matrilineal continuity, the unseen hand shaping the next generation. Spider in divination and dream interpretation.
When a spider appears in a dream, crawling on a ceiling, weaving a web in silence, it is often understood as a message from the ancestors.
It may mean
you are being called to pay attention to the subtle connections in your life.
A trap is being set by you or for you. A story must be told before it is lost. Diviners sometimes use small carved spiders in divination kits. Where it falls on the cloth, how it lands, and what objects it touches may shift the interpretation of an entire reading. In this sacred act, the spider is not an object. It is a conduit, a spirit of clarity, a weaver of truths not easily spoken. The spider and the power of storytelling. In African tradition, storytelling is not entertainment alone. It is ceremony, It is survival. It is spiritual nutrition, and no creature embodies this more than the spider.
Anansi's tales, told across generations, across oceans, across languages, became spiritual weapons during the trauma of enslavement. In the Caribbean and Americas, the Anansi tales lived on, carried by memory and song.
They taught slaves how to survive with cunning, how to protect the soul when the body was chained, how to find joy even in the crux of empire.
Thus, the spider is not simply folklore, it is resistance.
It spins in silence, and in that silence it remembers lessons from the spider. What does the spider teach? That size does not determine power. That silence can hold more than speech.
That wisdom is often found in the margins. That everything is connected, even if we do not see the threads.
The spider teaches us to observe, to create with care, to play, yes, but also to protect.
Its gift is not strength, but awareness. Its wisdom lies not in loudness, but in what it knows when to hide.
The inward spiral.
And so we step back, slowly, gently, from the web. We do not tear it. We do not touch it. We simply let it be.
In the African spiritual imagination, the spider continues to spin, not only in the corners of rooms or the crooks of branches, but in the mind, in the heart, in the dream. It is always weaving,
Always waiting,
always whispering,
a single thread away from changing everything. The leopard, shadow of the ancestors.
There are places in the forest where even the light refuses to speak. A rustle, a hush, a pause in breath, and then gold eyes in the underbrush. The leopard does not roar, it watches, and the earth listens. The spirit that walks alone.
Among the sacred creatures of Africa, the leopard holds a place of hushed reverence.
It is not just admired. It is not just feared.
It is respected, deeply, instinctively, across cultures and generations. The leopard is a being of mystery, of power without announcement, of motion without sound. It walks alone, not as outcast, but as sovereign.
To the Igbo, the Akan, the Kuba, the Nuer, the Yoruba, and others, the leopard is more than an animal. It is the symbol of royalty, the manifestation of ancestral judgment, and the embodiment of spiritual secrecy. The leopard teaches that strength can be quiet, and that authority need not shout.
Igbo, leopard as king of the forest and spirit of justice.
Among the Igbo people of southeastern Nigeria, the leopard, Agu, is seen as a sacred enforcer of cosmic balance.
It is the animal most closely associated with ancestral justice. When kings or priests don leopard skin, it is not mere regalia. It is a spiritual contract.
They wear the skin not to display dominance, but to invoke the leopard's discernment, its ability to move between seen and unseen, right and wrong, life and death, without faltering. In ancient Igbo society, the Ozo title, a high chieftaincy rank, was reserved for those who could carry the weight of the leopard, not in flesh, but in spirit. To walk the path of Ozo was to walk in silence, in discipline, in moral clarity. A common Igbo proverb says, Agu liye nogbe, ndi madu achogi iga.
When a leopard lies in the compound, people choose not to visit.
It means the presence of power does not require demonstration. It defines the space. Kuba, leopard as ancestral royalty. In the intricate artistry and royal symbolism of the Kuba kingdom in Central Africa, the leopard features prominently not as predator but as symbol of ancestral kingship. Kuba kings, known as Naim, traditionally wore garments and ornaments inspired by the leopard. Ceremonial stools, knives, and masks bear leopard motifs, often abstracted into patterns that resemble spots and eyes. These designs are not decorative, they are encoded with meaning. To wear the leopard is to be watched by the ancestors, to act in public as one who carries unseen eyes upon the shoulders. In Kuba belief, the leopard's solitary nature reflects the king's spiritual isolation, the burden of leadership, the silence of judgment, the responsibility to remain hidden when needed and visible only when necessary. Even in death, some Kuba rulers are buried with leopard symbols carved around them, a reminder that the king does not cease to rule, even from the ancestral realm. Yoruba, the leopard and the secrets of the Riza. In Yoruba cosmology, while the lion is sometimes invoked for open power, the leopard represents a more enigmatic force, the power of what is hidden. It is associated with Risa, like Obatala, the Orisha of purity and wisdom, who wears white but carries silence like a blade. In certain regions, diviners speak of the leopard as a spirit guide who walks with the Babalawo, the Ifa priest. The leopard knows when to speak, when to strike, and when to disappear. Yoruba proverbs warn against trying to tame the leopard. You may carry the cub, but you cannot leash the claw. The leopard reminds humans that mystery is necessary, that too much light blinds and too much noise deafens. Leopard societies, secret orders, and initiation. Across West and Central Africa, the leopard appears in the identities of secret societies, ritual brotherhoods who maintain spiritual law and ancestral order. Among the Ekpe of the Cross River region, the Leopard Society once served as a hidden arm of justice. They did not enforce colonial rule or tribal decree. They enforced cosmic law. Initiates into such orders were known by their silence, their control, their discipline. To be called a leopard man was not to be feared as a murderer, but to be respected as a spiritual enforcer, one who answers not to kings, but to the spirits. Masks used in their rituals often depict fierce leopard faces with abstract markings symbolizing the dance between human and animal, between seen and unseen. In these societies, the leopard is not just an animal. It is a code, a path, a vow. Leopard in divination and dream travel. In many African traditions, to dream of a leopard is to receive a message from the ancestors. The dreamer may be facing a moral dilemma, and the leopard arrives to show them the path of right action. Sometimes, the leopard stands still, and the dreamer must choose whether to pass it, a test of courage. Other times, it walks ahead, leading the way through a forest of uncertainty. In divination, the image of the leopard may appear in cowrie shell readings or in sacred sand drawings. The direction of its paw, the tilt of its head, the presence or absence of spots, each holds meaning. The leopard's message is rarely loud, but it is never mistaken. Leopard skins and spiritual authority. Across many African regions, to wear leopard skin is to wear sanctified authority. It is not a fashion, it is permission. Only priests, chiefs, or those granted ancestral blessing may don it. In some cultures, even touching the skin without blessing is taboo, a spiritual trespass. In sacred rituals, a chief may sit upon a leopard skin to signify their place between heaven and earth. A diviner may wrap their staff in leopard hide to invoke clarity in judgment. A dancer may wear leopard print in initiation to signal that their human identity has dissolved into spirit. The skin is not power. It is a sign that power has already entered.
The leopard as embodiment of thresholds.
In African metaphysics, the leopard is a liminal being, one who walks the borderlands between forest and village, spirit and flesh, rule and wildness. It does not live in chaos, nor does it submit to civilization. It moves through both, unseen, unbothered. Among the Dinka of South Sudan, there are tales of warriors who were guided by leopards during exile. The animals would appear in the night, their eyes like moonlight on obsidian, leading the way to safety. These men, when they returned, were changed, no longer merely human, but touched by something older.
To walk with the leopard is to accept solitude as a teacher.
To move without applause, to act without explanation.
Lessons from the leopard. What does the leopard teach?
That strength does not need sound, that judgment is not for display, that authority is earned in shadow, not gifted in light. That mystery is not ignorance, it is a form of protection. The leopard watches, but does not follow. It waits, but does not wither. It knows that the one who holds power does not always need to use it. The eyes in the dark. As we leave this chapter, we do not walk away from the leopard. We only stop seeing it. For even when it vanishes, the forest does not forget. The wind does not relax. The earth still holds its footprints. Like a prayer pressed into the skin of time, the leopard remains, not in the clearing, but in the question. It walks with the ancestors. It waits in the spaces between our words. And when it moves, we know, because everything else goes still. The hyena, boundary breaker and chaos laugher. Night thickens. The stars scatter like forgotten secrets. A cackle breaks the silence, half laughter, half warning. Somewhere in the brush, unseen eyes gleam. The hyena has arrived, not with fear, not with shame, but with the ancient permission to disrupt. The sacred profane. Across Africa, few creatures provoke such visceral response as the hyena.
Laughed at,
Feared, shunned. Yet beneath this reputation lies something older. Sacred contradiction. The hyena is not just a scavenger. It is a boundary breaker, a walker of the margins, a creature that thrives where order has failed and rules collapse. Among the Dinka, the Hausa, the San, the Shona, the Fulani, and others, the hyena appears not merely as nuisance or threat, but as symbol of invasion, of testing, of chaos that serves a purpose.
To dismiss the hyena is to misunderstand the necessity of the unpredictable.
Let us now follow the cackle, not to mock it, but to understand what it reveals. The Dinka, hyena, and the edge of the village. Among the Dinka of South Sudan, the hyena is considered both omen and balance. It is the one who lives at the edge, not inside the village, not in the forest, but in that uncertain threshold where humans do not build. Here, the hyena watches, waits, laughs. When a child is born under certain signs, elders might say, "This one laughs like the hyena. He will know no master." It may be a warning. It may be a blessing. In Dinka cosmology, the hyena often appears in origin tales, not as creator, but as tester, the one who pokes holes in human arrogance, who exposes false piety, who eats what others pretend not to see. The hyena asks, is your righteousness real or just untested? The Hausa, symbol of the hidden other. In Hausa tradition, the hyena is linked to the world of witches and night spirits.
It is said that those who walk with forbidden knowledge, who twist the rules of spirit, often take the form of hyenas in the dream world. Yet this is not simple demonization. The hyena, in this context, is a carrier of forbidden truths.
Its laughter is seen as a mocking of human pretensions, of kings who fall, of priests who lie, of villagers who hide their greed. To dream of a hyena may mean that you are being watched by forces you cannot control, or that you have entered a realm where the normal rules no longer apply.
It is not a curse, it is a threshold.
The sun hyena as cosmic trickster. For the San people of Southern Africa, the hyena plays the role of a divine disruptor. In their cosmology, the hyena is said to have once carried the moon across the sky, only to drop it and crack it open. From its wound, light spilled, giving birth to stars. Thus, the hyena's clumsiness is not failure. It is creation through accident.
It reminds the sun that not all beauty is born from order. Some comes from mistake, from mischief, from the laugh that follows ruin.
Sun shamans sometimes wear hyena teeth or skins during trance dances, believing they help the soul travel to unpredictable places where real healing hides.
The hyena's chaos is not destruction.
It is awakening. The Shona, laughing at the bones. Among the Shona of Zimbabwe, the hyena is known for its association with death and transition. It is the one who eats the leftover bones, who lingers near graveyards, who cackles as the funeral procession passes. Yet even here, the hyena is not evil.
It is essential. When death occurs, not all spirits live cleanly. The hyena's presence near the dead is seen as a spiritual janitor, a cleanser, clearing what the ritual could not.
In some burial rites, shamans speak to the hyena's spirit, asking it to finish what humans dare not face.
Its laugh is eerie, yes,
but it is also necessary. Who else dares laugh when death comes? Who else consumes what no one else will name?
Fulani, the one who crosses lines. Among the Fulani nomads, the hyena is known for its relentless hunger, its refusal to respect territory or ownership.
In folk tales, it is the creature who ignores all warnings, who walks through sacred fire, who steals from gods and goats alike. And yet, in some versions of these tales, the hyena succeeds, not because it is noble, but because it is free.
It does not care who set the boundary.
It walks anyway.
To the Fulani, who live by movement and adaptation, the hyena reflects a part of the self that refuses stagnation, that does what must be done, even if others scorn it.
In Proverbs, the hyena is invoked not to inspire virtue, but to provoke action. Sometimes, a child who breaks too many rules is called one born under the hyena's moon.
It is not praise,
but it is not dismissal either. It is acknowledgement of the power of refusal.
The hyena and gender fluidity.
In many African traditions, the hyena is also associated with gender ambiguity due to its physical traits and social behaviors.
It is a creature that does not fit, neither fully male nor female in appearance,
neither fully hunter nor scavenger. In folklore, the hyena may appear as a genderless spirit or as a shapeshifter, a being that confuses the order of things and thereby exposes where that order is false.
In this way, the hyena becomes a guardian of liminality.
For those who walk between roles, between expectations, between identities, the hyena is not just a mirror, it is an ancestor. Hyena in healing and divination. Healers sometimes invoke the hyena in rituals that deal with shadow medicine. the curing of sicknesses that arise from suppressed emotion, dishonesty, or broken taboos. The hyena's energy is used to bring things to the surface, to force the laughter that has long been buried, to expose the thing everyone sees but no one names. Diviners may use hyena bones in their kits, believing the spirit of the animal helps see what is hidden by pride. In this role, the hyena is not a destroyer, but a revealer, a light born from laughter, a laugh shaped like truth. Lessons from the hyena. What does the hyena teach? That not all chaos is evil, that boundaries must sometimes be crossed, that laughter is a weapon and a medicine, that the sacred wears many masks and some cackle. The hyena survives not because it is loved, but because it is necessary. It cleans what we abandon. It breaks what needs breaking. It reminds us that the sacred is not always soft. Closing reflections, the sacred cackle. As we leave the hyena's domain, its laughter follows us, distant, echoing, full of teeth and truth. We do not walk away cleansed. We walk away unhidden. The hyena has no shrine, no worship songs, and yet its lesson lingers. It is the creature who eats after the feast, who speaks after the silence, who walks where the signs say stop, and somehow, in doing so, keeps the world whole. The crocodile, guardian.